Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 27th Asia Pacific Regional Scout Conference. Please welcome your hosts, Bianca Mael Perez and Celeste G. Cananua.
Friends, fellow scouts all over Asia and the Pacific, welcome to the very first Digital Regional Scout Conference of the Great Asia Pacific region. I am Eagle Scout Celeste G. Cananua from the Boy Scouts of the Philippines, and I'll be one of your hosts for this conference.
Welcome everyone! Welcome to the biggest regional gathering of regional and national leaders in WASM's Asia Pacific region. I am Bianca May Perez, also from the Boy Scouts of the Philippines. As the current global health crisis has limited our mobility for international travel, the Asia Pacific Support Center could not get other hosts from neighboring NSOs. So the Boy Scouts of the Philippines gladly offered its hand. Hence, Celeste and I will be your hosts for this conference, joining the team live from our conference studio in Rizal, Philippines. You know, Celeste, I feel very ecstatic as we finally hold this long-awaited Regional Scout Conference. We may have had several setbacks due to the global health crisis, but we were able to collectively pull it through, all thanks to the hard work and commitment of the Asia Pacific Regional Scout Committee, the Asia Pacific Support Center, and the 30 NSOs in this great region. I also understand that this is the first of the 6 regional conferences taking place this year in every region of the World Organization of the Scout Movement. A year of regional conferences. What a treat!
Indeed, Bianca. You know, the last 2 years have been very challenging, but scouting never stops. We are proving just how resilient scouts can be and how agile and adaptive our organization is. We turned challenges into opportunities and saw how scouts are rising to the call of service. From Mongolia in the north to Japan in the east, Afghanistan to the west, and New Zealand to the south, we see boundless creativity and innovation in the way we do scouting. This pandemic has taught us and continues to teach us how to adapt to a changing world. Thus, underpinning the theme of this conference, adapting to a changing world.
That's right, Celeste. Our theme reflects the ability of the NSOs in this great region to welcome change and to soldier on in the face of shifting realities. Just look at this conference. We are doing it digitally for the first time, and in our case, we are in the outdoors. If this was done 2 years ago, we would have been in a grand hall or some posh hotel in the middle of a booming metropolis.
You know what, Bianca, if there is one thing that I have learned from this whole pandemic experience, it is to be grateful even with simple things in life, believing that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. We are not there yet, but I think we are on the right track. So, what better way to start this conference than by honoring our gods through an interreligious prayer? Please watch this. talk about numbers. Do you know how many Scout leaders are participating for this 27th APR Scout Conference? To our participants in the Zoom call, you may drop your answers at the chat box. Is it 124? 323? Drop your guesses at the comment section. I can see some comments from our participants. I am very excited to also know the answer. Well, we have over 550 participants from 30 NSOs all over the Asia-Pacific region. This is on top of our viewers and onlookers who are tuning in live on Facebook and YouTube. We also have guests and observers from different organs of the World Organization of the Scout Movement, the World Scout Committee, the World Scout Bureau from the support centers in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, Panama City, Panama, Nairobi, Kenya, Geneva, Switzerland, Cairo, Egypt, Kiev, Ukraine, and Makati City, Philippines. We also have our partner organizations who will be properly introduced later on.
Amazing! I can already feel the excitement brewing up, and I know that the conference or everyone is very eager to get this conference started.
That's right, Bianca. But before we introduce our participating NSOs, let us first recognize the presence of our distinguished guests. Let's first start with the Asia Pacific Regional Scout Committee from 2018 to 2022. Ambassador Ahmad Rusti from Indonesia, our chairperson. Hiroshi Shimada from Japan, our first vice chairperson. Dr. Sombun Bunyasiri, Thailand, our second vice chairperson. Our members, Governor Dale B. Corvera from the Philippines, Elston Hind from Australia, Muhammad Rafiqul Islam Khan from Bangladesh, Dr. Ibin Lian, Scouts of China, Ahmed Ali Maniku from Maldives, Che Hong Lang from Singapore, Baidas Ishwar Nagarale from India, Wei Yung Lim from Singapore, our RYR chairman, and Paul Ho from Hong Kong, our regional treasurer.
Next up, let us recognize the chairpersons of the APR Subcommittee and Task Forces. The APR Subcommittee, Cedric G. Train from the APR Program Subcommittee. Antong Sharudin Ramat, APR Adults in Scouting Subcommittee. Neville Tompkins from the APR Governance Subcommittee. Yorimasa Matsudaria from the APR Communications and Partnerships Subcommittee. Jimmy Ang from the APR Financial Management Subcommittee. The APR Task Forces, Rajalingam Ramasamy from the APR Strategy Monitoring Task Force. Simon Hang Bok Ri from the APR Awards Committee. Dr. Chow Shou Pu, President of the APR Scout Foundation Management Committee. David Wynne Jones from the APR Scout Bazaar. Consultant to the APR Scout Committee, Wendell E. Avisado, APR Scout Committee Vice Chairperson, 2015 to 2018. Kirsty Brown, APR Scout Committee Vice Chairperson, 2001 to 2004. Paul D. Parkinson, APR Scout Committee Chairman, 2015 to 2018.
Let us also acknowledge the members of the World Scout Committee under the leadership of its new chairperson, Andy Chapman of the Boy Scouts of America.
We also have our conference support team and speakers. Conference oversight, we have Kenny Ralph S. Fernando, the International Commissioner of the Boy Scouts of the Philippines. Our presiding officers, Malcolm Tan Ban Ho from the Singapore Scout Association, Sean Marie Prital Patnubay, and Diane Eden Iviliasis from the Boy Scouts of the Philippines. And your host, Celeste G. Cananua, and yours truly, Bianca May Alpedes from the Boy Scouts of the Philippines.
We now recognize the senior management team of the World Scout Bureau, Incorporated, headed by its Secretary General, Ahmad Alindawi. We also recognize the members of the senior management team from the different support centers of the World Scout Bureau. Frederick Kamakama from Africa, Amir Hamdi from Arab, Srinath Tirumale from Eurasia, Abir Kuba from Europe, Raul Sanchez Vaca, Inter-America, and J. Rizal C. Pangilinan from Asia and the Pacific. We also have the World Scout Bureau Asia Pacific Support Center responsible for providing quality services to the more than 75% of the WASM's global membership.
This time, let us introduce our participating member countries and NSOs with their heads of delegation. Afghanistan National Scout Organization, Head of Delegation, Muhammad Tamim Hamkar, National Secretary. Scouts Australia, headed by Aaron Wardle, International Commissioner. Bangladesh Scouts, Head of Delegation, Muhammad Muzammel Haq Khan, Chief National Commissioner. Bhutan Scouts Association, headed by Tenzin Tenli, Chief Commissioner. Persekatuan Pengakap Negara Brunei Darussalam, Head of Delegation, Haji Awang Badar bin Haji Awang Ali, Chief Commissioner. Cambodia Scouts, Head of Delegation, His Excellency Tok Chowun. The General Association of the Scouts of China, Head of Delegation, Yang Yung Chin, Chairperson. Fiji Scouts Association, Head of Delegation, John Nisao, Chief Commissioner. Scout Association of Hong Kong, headed by E. Leung Joseph Lau, Chief Commissioner. The Bharat Scouts and Guides India, headed by K.K. Kandalwal, Chief National Commissioner.
Gerakan Pramuka Indonesia, Head of Delegation, Dr. Bakhtiar Utomo, Secretary General. Scout Association of Japan, Head of Delegation, Masato Mizuno, Chairman, National Executive Board. Kiribati Scout Association, Head of Delegation, Amontiman, Chief Commissioner. Korea Scout Association, Head of Delegation, Simon Hang Bokri, National Chief Commissioner. The Scout Association of Macau, Isabella May Kun Mok, International Commissioner. Persekituan Pengakap Malaysia, Nasaruddin Shamsuddin, Deputy National Chief Commissioner. The Scout Association of Maldives, Mohammed Hanif, President. The Scout Association of Mongolia, Kalyun Lamdash, International Commissioner. Myanmar Scout, Head of Delegation, Dr. Tin Nyo, Chief Commissioner. Nepal Scouts, headed by Lok Bahadur Bandari, National Coordinator.
Scouts New Zealand, Head of Delegation, Tom Williams, International Commissioner. Pakistan Boy Scouts Association, headed by Sarfraz Kamar Daha, Chief Commissioner. The Scout Association of Papua New Guinea, headed by Noel Penda, National Chief Executive. Boy Scouts of the Philippines, Head of Delegation, Kenny Ralph Fernando, International Commissioner. The Singapore Scout Association, headed by Desmond Chong Kok Wee, Chief Commissioner. Solomon Island Scout Association, headed by Joe Billy Oge. Sri Lanka Scout Association. Head of Delegation, Janaprit Salinda Fernando, Chief Commissioner. National Scout Organization of Thailand. Head of Delegation, Dr. Sutin Kiupana, Secretary General. União Nacional dos Osquetieros de Timor-Leste. Head of Delegation, Edelta Maria Rodriguez, President. And Pathfinder Scouts Vietnam, headed by Nguyen Tuan, International Commissioner.
There you have it, friends, the participating NSOs for the 27th APR Scout Conference. It is also worthy to note that during the 26th APR Scout Conference, we only had 27 NSOs. Now, more than 3 years after, we now have 30 NSOs in the Asia Pacific with over 35 million scouts and still counting. If we do the numbers, the Asia Pacific region contributes about 75% of the global membership of WASM. That deserves an applause, don't you think?
What an amazing feat! Shout out to our friends from Gerakan Pramuka, Indonesia for contributing more than 25 million scouts to the world. We are truly marching on towards the attainment of WASM's Vision 2023. At this point, we are elated and honored to introduce a person who has been very instrumental in shaping and charting the course of the Asia-Pacific region over the last triennium.
The strides and accolades that we have seen in the APR over the last triennium were made possible thanks to this man's outstanding leadership, one that inspires and radiates positivity and candor. His brand of leadership is one that has been widely supported by his peers in the Asia Pacific Regional Scout Committee and the Subcommittee, earning him the moniker Primus Inter Pares, or the first among equals. Ladies and gentlemen, much has been said. To give us his message, let us all welcome the chairperson of the APR Scout Committee, His Excellency Ambassador Ahmad Rusti.
Greeting to scouts and leaders as delegates, observers, guests, World and Regional Committee members, World Scout Bureau staff, and to those that have also joined us through live streaming. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 27th APR Conference. After months preparing by World Scout Bureau APR Support Center from Makati, Manila, we are finally opening this conference. Today, 30 NSOs are represented in this conference. On behalf of the 30 NSOs and Members Committee, I would like to express my highest appreciation and great honor for being here to my brother Ahmad Al-Hindawi, Secretary General of WASM, brothers Andi Chairman, Chairperson World Scout Bureau Committee, and new members from World Scout Committee for their support to the Asia Pacific regions. This Scout movement evolved over a century to become a global movement that inspires young generation. With the Asia Pacific region serving our members the importance of the regions. The Scout movement is more than simply of an event of our generation. It is driving force that create dreams and aspirations with youth and minds that will lead the world tomorrow. Our youth dreams is our future, and the Scout movement fosters the bright idea among generations. Since receiving the mandate over the 3 years ago, the APR committee have come into action for triennium and improving their plan over time, even during pandemics. Needless to say, I'm impressed by their dedication to serve the NSOs and the region by taking concrete efforts to fortify the unity activity that impacts Scouting. The 27 Asia Pacific Region Scout Conference 2022, it is important occasion for us not only reflected the performance development in our regions for past 3 years and to share with each other experience in scouting during pandemics, but also for us to work closely together to design new strategy for the future scouting in the regional as well as globally. It is to be noted that over the last 3 years, we have successfully accomplished 3 additional members countries from the Asia-Pacific regions to become World Scout members, where the currency number become 172 countries. It is gratifying to mention that many NSOs have heeded the call to include young people under 13 in their delegation. More family participants are also part of the delegation. This shows much improvement in opening our conference doors for more balance in age and genders, and to be as diverse and inclusive as possible. We acknowledge our colleagues from the World Scout Committee who are, for some, may be attending the APR conference for the first time. Our experience from the World Scout Conference last year gave us a practical learning, especially in using digital platform to connect and make decisions at this conference. We thank you, our colleagues at the World Scout Bureau, Global Support Center, for their guidance and strong support in improving training in using digital platform. We thank you, our volunteers who have devoted time to prepare the delivery of this conference, the presiding officers, resolutions committee, conference tellers, as well MC, and of course, the representative from National Scout Organization who joined the orientation on using the e-voting system. So, let's bear in mind that we have different roles at this conference, and we are adjusting to this new system of delivery, technically and in terms of program contents and procedures. We are having a very good attendance via online platform or Zoom. We are remain strong, united, and engaged despite the health challenges that is physical spreading in all of us. The recently concluded 10th APR Youth Forum is fully inspiration and aspiration. Youth Forum participants deliver recommendations on how to make youth engagement and participation more meaningful and useful. They also discuss about youth leadership, environment, sustainability, and rebranding of scouting. This only shows that we have a lot of aspire for in the next triennium. There is always work to do, improvement to make, and we must do this with open-minded and willingness build up from our triennium and others. At this conference, there will be sessions to encourage sharing and learning from best practices and challenges, and always aspire for better future of scouting. Once again, I welcome the key leaders from the NSOs represented at this conference. You have shown your creativity and resilience at this high pandemic. Your input are very valuable in setting the direction for scouting on how we can work together to a time of regeneration. Brothers and sisters, on this occasion, please allow me also to convey a very warm greeting from the Indonesian Scout movement, who wants to thank my sisters and brothers in the region for trusting Indonesia to serve as chairman of APR Committee 2018-2022. I need to mention this is to reflect the proudness of having me as a part of Gerakan Pramuka, who has given opportunities to lead largest region of WOSM and inspire them. Finally, at this opportunity, as I am only a human being, I admit that as chairperson, it is impossible to satisfy everyone's expectation during my tenure. I would also like to convey my sincere apologies if I have offended any NSOs and members of committee and subcommittee, as well as APR Sports Center officers from Manila during our interaction or communication in the last 3 years. This is very important, what our togetherness and solidarity. What we always remember say, scouting doesn't know age. One scout will always be scout forever. Today, I welcome you and all together. Let us have a meaningful conference 2022. Arigatou gozaimasu. Kopkun kap. Hamsahamnida. Sheshe. Sukriya bahut acha. Thank you very much. Salam apo. Terima kasih. Sukron kasiron. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih, Chairman Rusdi, for your inspiring remarks. Your outstanding leadership, coupled with your unwavering commitment to the trust of the Scout movement, is worthy of emulation. Throughout this difficult time, you have ensured that the quality services that we are offering to the NSOs continue to go on, unhampered and without delay. From all of us in the Asia-Pacific region, thank you very much for your service.
This time, may we call on the Regional Director of WOSM's Asia-Pacific region, J. Rizal C. Pangilinan, to brief us about what is in store for all of us in the next few days of this conference. Dearest friends in Scouting, Regional Director, J.R.
Thank you, Celeste and Bianca. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, conference. It is our greetings because we are live all over the globe and we have different time zones. And our member NSOs are viewing us in this regional conference. I will be providing you a guide about the conference program. May I request the tech team to please show on the screen the conference program. And I hope that our participants are having that one-page conference program. Can I see a thumbs up on the screen? Okay, good. I can see a lot of thumbs up. You are really interested in this conference. Good. Let's now proceed. The 27th Asia Pacific Regional Scout Conference is being run virtually. It will run from 15 to 21 February 2022. All timings are Manila time, GMT +8. Please take note of that. In our conference agenda, we will have 2 days break for your well-being. There will be no plenary session on February 17 and 20. So you can have a date on that date. We are starting this conference program today with this opening ceremony. The meeting started this morning with the Regional Scout Committee of this region with the head of NSOs. Our meeting went well, and our orientation and our learning. We are presently in our opening ceremony to be followed by a plenary session, and please pay attention to this plenary because we will be making appointments for volunteers who will be playing important role in this conference. We will approve the rules of procedure, introduce the candidates to the Asia Pacific Regional Scout Committee, wherein all of you are very interested, I'm sure. We will hear the triennial report on our collective achievement and of course the report of the regional treasurer. If you encounter some technical glitches or issue on Zoom, you can get the information presented in each day in our conference documents. We have explained this to the head of delegation meeting this morning. By day 2, which is Wednesday, and this is tomorrow, 16 February 2022, we will have a session on capacity building. These are inputs on the following, my dear conference: the WASM data portal, the Safe from Harm, the WASM services, and the APR Scout Bazaar. These are topics on global and regional initiatives in serving the NSOs. The topic delivery is to give each NSO the better understanding on the initiatives wherein we will provide you with all those services. After the capacity building session, our Secretary General, Mr. Ahmad Al-Hendawi, will address or deliver the message. And another address from our World Scout Committee Chairperson, Andy Chapman, delivering his message direct from the United States of America. We will also hear reports on APR Scout Foundation by Dr. Chow, the report of the APR Scout Youth Forum by Lim Wei-yung, and the report of the APR Course for Leader Trainer by Mr. Antong Sharudin. These are the ancillary events that we just concluded few days ago. After all those reports, we will slowly move to an exciting process in this conference, because I will provide you with the information on how we will elect the APR Scout Committee members using the e-voting system of this organization. We will also have some action time presentation of NSOs after the voting to provide you with some information on how our NSOs work for the last 3 years. But before we close the day, we will announce the 5 additional members of the Regional Scout Committee that will work with us for the next 6 years. In the evening of day 2, from 6:30 p.m., we shall have the APR Scout Foundation Fellowship Gathering. All foundation members are invited to attend the fellowship gathering. It will have its own program, which was mailed to the members earlier. On Thursday, 17 February, the official meeting of the Regional Scout Committee will take place, and this will be the election of chairman and 2 vice chairman of the Regional Scout Committee while you are on rest. In the meeting, we will elect the steering committee. Come day 3, which is Friday, 18 February, we will continue with our NSO presentation on success stories, which will be shared by different NSOs of the Asia-Pacific region. At 1400 hours, we will be announcing the new chairman and 2 vice chairmen of the Asia-Pacific Regional Scout Committee, and we will request our conference chairman, Ambassador Ahmad Rasdi, to present it. That is the result of the election the last day. Then we will invest the newly elected members of the Regional Scout Committee that will take place, including the 5 newly elected RYR. We will have another lighter mode after that presentation to hear some reports from our partners or updates. After the presentation of partners, we will go for a breakout group. We discussed this in the head of delegation, and please be ready to join the 11 breakout group discussion that will be conducted on that day. Participants are pre-assigned into breakout group Zoom, which our NSOs indicated earlier or advance. Please don't forget to join this breakout group, such as the APR Plan 2022-2025, which focuses on youth engagement, educational methods, diversity and inclusion. And another Group B, which will deal on social impact, communications and external relations, governance. We will also have breakout session on building financial capability, the WASM services, growing our movement in the post-pandemic world because we are transitioning to a new normal. The GSAT, which brings your NSO to world-class standard. Please don't fail to join this. Sustainability, youth engagement in decision-making, reaching out, advocacy for growth, positioning and influence, and the last one but not the least, the safe from harm compliance. We will have the following gatherings also in the evening from 6:30 p.m. happening simultaneously. The International Commissioners Gathering, the Chief Commissioners Gathering, the Global Scouting Communications Network Meeting, and the APR Palaver. The APR Palaver are those who have been in the youth program, national training, and adults in scouting commissionership level. This evening program is designed for people who belong to that group to meet at a fellowship to discuss and exchange ideas related to the respective professional area. Each group will have the respective agenda. Now, on the fourth day, in the mid-morning, there will be a meeting of the new Regional Scout Committee, and the agenda for that meeting is the selection and appointment of chairman and members to the different subcommittees of the Asia Pacific. In the meeting, the selection panel for the APR subcommittee for the period 2022-2025 will present its recommendation to the new Regional Scout Committee. The RSC members, based on the recommendations made to it and considering the eligibility, the competence, the geographical spread of members in its committee, will make its final decision in appointing the chairman and members to each of the committee as well as task forces. The names of the appointed committee members will be announced the same day of the conference. By noon, we shall have again the presentation of NSOs, and then after that, we will proceed with the presentation of future regional scout events. We will go for a bidding and then call for a vote. Then by 2:20 p.m., we expect to announce to all of you who will be the next host of our regional events such as the conference and others. After that announcement, the chairman and members of the various committee will be working, and then the presentation on constitutional amendments and conference resolution will take place for the information of the conference. In the evening of this day, at 1830 hours, the Association of Top Achiever Scout will also have their gathering virtually, and then followed by Asia Pacific Evergreen Scouts. On our day 5, Monday, February 22, which is the last day, don't be lonely because we have an excitement time here. We will proceed working to vote on the constitutional amendment, and voting of conference resolution will also take place here as I earlier presented. Remember that we will use here the e-voting system again. By 2 p.m., the new chairman will deliver his challenge, and he will address the plenary outlining his challenge and vision for the new committee and as chairman himself. By 2:30 p.m., we will continue discussing the voting on the conference resolution. The presiding officers will continue to proceed discussing this and amend the vote on the remaining draft resolution until the last proposed resolution is voted on by the conference. After the discussion and voting on conference resolution, we shall have a special recognition ceremony to recognize our volunteers for their achievement for the last triennium. After the recognition ceremony, the evaluation follows. Please ensure that you answer the evaluation via Google form so that you can get your certificate also virtually, which will confirm your attendance to this conference. After that, we will not close the conference. No? Don't be lonely, as I said, because in the evening, we will celebrate and enjoy the conference by having our cultural international evening at 6:30. I hope that that's clear. As you can see on the screen, that's the happenings that will take place during this virtual conference of our Asia Pacific region, the 27th APR Scout Conference. As you see also, our breaks will be announced from time to time so that we will not focus directly so much on your screen for your well-being. So dear conference, sit back, relax, and let us enjoy this gathering as we celebrate our accomplishment for the last 3 years plus one, despite the restrictions that we have this time. This too shall pass. I repeat, this too shall pass. Thank you, conference, and I now give back the time to our MC, Celeste and Bianca.
Thank you, RDJR. From what we have just heard, the next few days will be full of learning, reports, breakouts, and sharing. But of course, we will make sure that there will also be a few ounces of fun and excitement.
That's right. I'm so excited. And of course, we don't want to miss any of it, Bianca. Oh, by the way, conference. Did you know when and where the first APR Scout Conference was held? Bianca, do you have any guesses?
Is it in Singapore?
I don't know. Well, to our participants and to all of our viewers, drop your answers or guesses in the chat box. Bianca, I am guessing it's in Afghanistan.
Or Indonesia?
I don't know. Let's read some comments from our viewers. Very interesting answers, conference. Well, the first APR Scout Conference, then called the Far East Regional Scout Conference, was first held in Baguio City, Philippines in 1958. Back then, APR only had 10 member NSOs and about 1.1 million members.
Interesting, Celeste. I'm from the Philippines, but I didn't know that the Boy Scouts of the Philippines hosted the very first regional conference. For those who are curious just like me, let me take you through a brief trip down memory lane. Let us watch this video about the past 26 APR regional conferences. Please watch this.
That was beautiful. Very beautiful. It is remarkable to see how scouting continues to evolve year after year, full of history and significant breakthroughs, how we grew as an organization and eventually thrive as a strong region for over 60 years. As young people who will eventually take on the reins, and as the next generation upon whom much will depend, we will continue to do that, to pass on this inspiring legacy to the younger generations, to make sure that there will always be torchbearers that will keep the flame of scouting burning. The bucket will not stop here.
That is very true, Celeste. As Lord Baden-Powell said, look wide. Even if you are looking wide, look wider still.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, Before we conclude this opening ceremony, let us first have our mandatory group photo. Kindly turn on those cameras and show us some wide smiles. This is my most favorite part of the program.
Me too, Celeste.
All right, we have 16 slides. We are requesting everyone to please keep your smiles as wide as possible because we have a lot of slides. All right, at the count of 3, ready, production team? In 3, 2, 1. Another pose, please. Keep smiling. Bianca, I think we should do a wacky shot. Everybody, scout sign. Lovely smiles I see there. Thank you so much. We have 2 more slides. This is going to be our last slides. So nice to see those smiles, Bianca.
Maintain those smiles.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. This concludes our opening ceremony. As explained by our regional director, JR, we are up for an exciting regional scout conference. Stay tuned as we will now move on to the next part of our conference.
And now to start our business session, we will now turn you over to our presiding officers, Sean Marie Pritel Patnubay and Diane Eden Ivillasis of the Boy Scouts of the Philippines. Sean and Diane, the virtual floor is now yours.
Celeste and Bianca, good afternoon, conference. Before we proceed with our preliminary session, let me introduce myself. I am Sean Marie Bertil Patnubay, and I am one of your presiding officers.
I am Diane Eden Ivillasis, your newly elected chairperson of the APR Regional Youth Representatives 2022 to 2025. And I am also one of your presiding officers for this conference. I guess we are all up and ready. After all, we have waited for this conference for more than a year already. Without much ado, the 27th Asia Pacific Regional Scout Conference is now in session. At this point, I'd like to request everyone to offer 2 minutes of silence as we remember our fellow scouts who have gone ahead to the final camping ground.
I will now call upon the members of the Credentials Committee, former APR Scout Committee Vice Chairpersons Reiko Suzuki of the Scout Association of Japan and Wendell E. Abusado of the Boy Scouts of the Philippines to kindly verify the credentials of this conference.
Thank you very much, Madam Presiding Officer. On my part of the Credentials Committee, I am pleased to inform the conference that we have gone through the matrix of participation and relevant records of the 27th Asia Pacific Regional Scout Conference with the Regional Director. And I confirm that all the delegations are eligible for participation to this conference.
At this juncture, may I call on Ms. Reiko Suzuki of the Scout Association of Japan to please say her part.
On my part of the Credentials Committee, I can confirm that over 550 participants for this conference, composed on delegates, observers, guests, and partners, are all eligible for participation. Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Reiko Suzuki and Attorney Wendell E. Avisado. As a good practice during all plenary sessions, to be ready for any voting, I invite all the heads of delegation to kindly log on to the e-voting system. By now, you should already have your access credentials and tested them accordingly. As a reminder, here's a short clip to help you access the e-voting system. Please watch this.
This is a tutorial for the World Scouting's e-voting system. How to access the e-voting system. To access the e-voting system after creating your account, go to vote.scout.org. The system is accessed on this unique online platform, separate from the platform of the event you are participating in. We recommend that you bookmark this page, or add to favorites for easy access throughout the event. Delegates with voting credentials can log in with their registered email address and use the personalized password set when creating their account. Note that the link provided in the invitation email will expire once you have activated your account. If you forgot your password or wish to change it, click on the Forgot Password link below the Login button. Once logged in, access the relevant event which you have been invited to as a voter. Note that the preferred browsers are Chrome, Edge and Safari. The preferred device is a laptop or a desktop computer, while the use of mobile devices is not recommended. The e-voting system's user experience will be reduced on a mobile device or with any other browser.
Thank you for the video. Should you have any issue in accessing the e-voting platform, we are flashing on screen some helpful information. The e-voting help desk at aprsc.support@scout.org and the e-voting platform at vote.scout.org. So at this time, I hope you are all logged in now. Let us move on with the agenda, Sean.
I now request the Vice Chairman of the APR Scout Committee, Mr. Hiroshi Shimada, and APR Regional Director, J. Rizal C. Panghilinan, to present the conference rules of procedure for the adoption. May I call on Mr. Hiroshi Shimada to present the conference rules of procedure.
Now, I will draw your attention to point
The APR Scout Committee introduced amendment to these rules of procedure. On your screen, it is marked under item number 3, clause H. We now table it to the conference for adoption of the rules of procedure.
This revision in the rules of procedure has been circulated to all NSOs in advance, and no objections were received by the Asia Pacific Support Center. Now, conference, are there any objections from the floor? Once again, are there any objections from the floor? For any objections with regards to the rules of procedure, you may raise your virtual hand and we will acknowledge you accordingly. Going once, twice, thrice. Hearing no objections, the rules of procedure of the 27th APR Scout Conference is hereby adopted.
Let us now present the conference appointments made by the APR Scout Committee to help us run this conference smoothly. Conference Chairperson, Ambassador Ahmad Rusti. Conference Vice Chairpersons, Hiroshi Shimada and Dr. Sombun Bunyasiri. Conference Tellers, Dr. Muhammad Mahmudul Haq, Piotr Thurawin, and Jason Ng. Credentials Committee, Attorney Wendell E. Avisado and Ms. Reiko Suzuki. Resolutions Committee, Mr. Janaprit Fernando as Chairman, Mr. Paul Parkinson, Dr. Haji Muhammad Azlan Abdul Jalil, Ms. Kwenzang Choden, and Attorney Charles Mark B. Parsha. We'd like to seek the endorsement of the conference by giving us a virtual checkmark. Again, we'd like to seek the endorsement of the conference by giving us a virtual checkmark. Click yes or no in the chat box. With an overwhelming majority, the conference appointments are now confirmed.
Thank you, conference. Before you proceed with the remaining items in our agenda, let us first take a 15-minute break. Stand up for a while, stretch your arms and legs, grab some water, coffee, or tea. We will be back after 15 minutes.
Welcome back. I now call for the resumption of the conference. Now, it is time for us to meet the candidates to the Asia Pacific Regional Scout Committee 2022 to 2025. Please watch this.
안녕하세요. Scout greetings from Korea. I'm Simon Hangbok Lee, your candidate for the APR Scout Committee. I'm standing for this election because scouting in APR is facing a crossroad that needs my unique skills and experience. We are now in a globalized scouting village, and this means whatever we do, we will have a chain reaction and impact to other parts of the world. We need to bridge our scouts and take part. We need to understand, plan, and more importantly, to act. My challenge, my campaign can be summed up as delivering promises, taking action. If elected, I will work with my fellow committee members to strengthen our region so our Scout can fully participate in this era of global scouting. I believe my strong credentials and proven track record from chair of APR Management Subcommittee, 2 times APR Scout Foundation and Awards Committee, World Scout Committee Chairman and Vice Chairman, Korea Scout Association National Chief Commissioner, 25th World Scout Jamboree Camp Chief, and much more, has given me a unique perspective about our region. With your support and vote, we can bring our Scout to the world. Thank you for your support and vote. My name is Simon Hangbok Lee, as your candidate for the APR Scout Committee. 감사합니다. Thank you very much to you all.
Hello, my dear brothers and sisters. What a wonderful world. I'm Yang Yongqin, a candidate for the Asia Pacific Regional Scout Committee. I have been a Boy Scout over 30 years and more than 10 years served in my NSO. Based on my love for scouting, I am willing to contribute more in scouting of Asia Pacific region and try my best to promote and implement the policies of the WOSM. I teach at National Taipei University of Technology. Using my background as a professor, I have worked hard to bring more elements of science education into scouting education in Taiwan. I recognize this is important for post-pandemic scouting activity and the SDG. In addition, local scouts need to prepare and enrich themselves for their further careers. Why? I think a good life will be more capable of giving back to the scouting movement. I will do my great contribution on this issue in APR. Due to the pandemic, many activities of scouting are affected. Let us adapt to a changing world. Let us get together. Everything becomes possible. Today, we can only meet online at this conference, but I'm sure we can soon get together face-to-face in further events, as well as the possibility next APR Scout Conference in Taiwan, 2025. See you in Taiwan. I'm Yang Yongqin. Thanks for your support.
Mr. Nawang Galton, National Youth Program Commissioner, is someone who has made scouting enriching for young people in Bataan. He has made MOP programs and projects, Scouts of the World Award programs accessible to young people in Bataan, providing platforms and avenues to showcase their projects and stories in Scout.org. Currently, Bataan has about 7,500 Scout members despite the pandemic. He has relentlessly pursued to promote the roving programs in colleges. Roving program now functions under a well-established Rover Council. BSA has achieved so much in the recent years, and the credit goes to such an iconic figure whose dedicated efforts today has pushed forward young people to be the agents of change.
Kuzu Zangbo, greetings from Bhutan. I am Nawang from Bhutan Scout Association. Today I stand before you as a candidate for the Regional Scout Committee for the first time. Bhutan is participating for the first time and fielding one candidate. I may be small like a mouse, but I have got it all. I'll work for you without rest, so put me to the test. Hello folks, many NSOs in the region have had the opportunity to be part of the Regional Scout Committee. Bhutan has never been a part of the Regional Scout Committee. So we pray and hope and request all NSOs to give us a chance. Give Bhutan a chance, just one chance. Vote and support for us for a change. If elected, I assure you that I can bring the spark, the passion, zeal and enthusiasm. I'll work together with other Scout Committee for youth engagement, scouting during the new normal, membership growth, attraction and retention, and of course try to achieve the regional priorities. Please support Bhutan and give us a chance. Karin Che, thank you very much for your time. Greetings everyone. I am Vaya, board member of Mongolian Scout Association. It's an honor to be nominated for the APR Scout Committee from Scout Association Mongolia. Our association has high expectations for me. Since 1998, I started working with Scout Association of Mongolia to help educate Mongolian youth through the scouting. During this time, I have participated many events organized by APR and WOSM. In recent years, we have noticed that friends, not only Asia, but around the world, have begun to pay more attention to the need for youth development programs, especially scouting, due to COVID. But are we ready for that? Is our regional Scout Committee ready? We must be fully prepared to make and manage the correct decision. Our regional Scout associations need to work together more, and I will appreciate for their cooperation. If you support me in this election, I promise that I will work for all those purposes and even the future level. Lastly, we hope Mongolians will be able to join APR Scout Committee for the first time in our 30 years history. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Brata of Indonesian Scout, Gerakan Pramuka. It's an honor for me to speak with you, delegates attending the 27th APR Conference. I'm one of 10 candidates standing for election to the APR Scout Committee for the next 6 years. It is my sincere hope that you will consider me worthy of being one of the top 5 elected. I come from a Scout family. My mother, now 97 years old, my uncles, my aunties, my sisters were all Scouts in the 60s. My Scouting journey began in 1971, in 7th grade, and in 1973, I attended the first Indonesian National Scout Jamboree in Jakarta. Since then, I've been committed to the development of young people in Indonesia and across our region. Over the past 15 years, I've been actively serving APR in a number of subcommittees, complemented by 20 years as National Commissioner in Gerakan Pramuka. If elected as a committee member, I will be working together with the chairman and fellow members to strengthen our unique region. We must use creative and innovative ways to maintain and grow scouting in the face of many difficulties caused by coronavirus. My motto is keeping scouts interested by engaging one-on-one with young members and parents, using digital devices to provide relevance to the youth programs. Hope you stay safe and healthy and enjoy the conference. Thank you for your votes.
Dear brothers and sisters in Scouting, warm greetings from Kuala Lumpur. I am Muhammad Zinbidin from Persekutuan Pengakap Malaysia. I have participated in several regional events and attended workshops as participants and resource person. I have traveled to many NSOs and I'm in regular contact with many leaders and young people. I am also a WOSM consultant. The exposure I had in scouting has enriched my experience. I am confident that with my expertise, I could help to enhance scouting in the region and extend necessary support to NSOs in this post-pandemic era. I am prepared to give my assistance and devote time to make the Regional Scout Committee vibrant, energetic, and supportive to the NSO's needs. We need to provide more opportunities for the smaller NSOs to grow. The Regional Scout Committee need to be closer to the NSOs and support them, especially those which are facing national challenges within Scouting. I see that the region is beset with unique opportunities and also challenges. We need to work together to inspire others and to deliver hope. We need to foster trust, unlock new opportunities, increase growth, and enhance reputation. We need to transform the way we do Scouting. Ladies and gentlemen, I look forward to your kind support to enable me to serve you as a committee member. You have my trust, promise, and commitment. Thank you.
Hi, brothers and sisters in Scouting. My name is Madhusudan from Bharat Scouts and Guides, India. I am honored to be one of the candidates for the Asia Pacific Regional Scout Committee. I truly believe Scouting is a life-changing experience. I am grateful to be part of this great Asia Pacific Scout region. After having enjoyed Scouting for little over 3 decades, serving at various levels locally, nationally, and internationally, my learning experiences working in the Better World Framework Unit, APR Messengers of Peace Core Team, and as WASM consultant, especially serving the region in different capacities on various tasks and assignments, has helped me to have deeper understanding of the field situations of Scouting in the NSOs, strengths and challenges faced by the colleagues in the member NSOs of our region. Given my professional competencies in management and finance, along with my passion, experience, and expertise in Scouting, I would focus on the key areas like reaching out and implement Scouting in the new normal, work towards membership retention and membership growth, focus on youth engagement to ensure Scouting remains a preferred choice and a relevant space for the young people in the region. Together with all of you, we can concentrate to achieve the regional priorities to further strengthen Scouting in the region. Being the youngest of you all, I seek your blessings and support to take this great Asia Pacific Scout region to newer heights and create a better world. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters in Scouting. 32 years ago, I never imagined that I would have the passion to continue Scouting. I didn't have much option, but rather joined Scouting while I was doing my teacher education. Today, I am proud to say that I have gained experience both at national and international level. I am a candidate to the Asia Pacific Regional Scout Committee and would love to work with the team to bring continuous effective change and also to facilitate its expansion and development. I am overwhelmed to the development brought to the Scouting during the worst time of the pandemic during the last 2 years. The creativity in transforming Scouting to even a better platform will truly need people from both genders. I am the only female candidate competing in this election. I would love to offer my experience for the challenges for the largest educational movement. I am committed to serve the Asia Pacific Regional Scout Committee with passion and dedication. I am Aisha Takna from the Scout Association of Maldives. Wish you true Scouting.
Brothers and sisters in Scouting, Namaste and greeting from Nepal Scout. My name is Lokbahadhur Bhandari. Professionally, I am an academician dedicated toward overall development of young people through the formal education since long time. Beside of the formal education, non-formal education, especially Scouting plays vital role to fulfill gap among the young people and to prepare them to be a global active citizen. As a successful team leader of Nepal Scouts, trying to come out of the transition, I have an experience of bringing transformational change in the organization, which has ensured a strong base for stability. I feel fortunate to have played leading role in historic expansion of Nepal Scout in all segments of society. This helped in reaching out to many young people. I have tried my best to develop Nepali Scout as a premier youth movement of the country, and now I want to serve in the Asia Pacific region using same level of enthusiasm and passion. There are still some gray area for proper growth, expansion and management of scouting in the region. My motivation to stand for Regional Scout Committee is to work together in making it brighter using our shared experience for the best of the young people. A strong foundation with the feeling of togetherness, better coordination among NSOs and united effort to tackle the challenges is what I can bring in with me to achieve the regional priorities. Innovative way to take scouting forward in new normal have to be offering lots for the young people. I offer my determination, passion and commitment to scouting of the region for consistent growth. Together, let's create a better world.
There you have it, friends, the 9 candidates who have presented themselves for election to the APR Scout Committee. I hope that short introduction was able to provide you with a glimpse of our candidates and their vision for scouting in the Asia-Pacific region.
If there is one thing we cannot discount, that is the fact that we have had a great run over the past triennium. The last 3 years has been so full of challenges, but it was also coupled with great strides and revelries. To take us on a tour back in time, let us welcome our tour guides. APR Scout Committee Chairperson Ahmad Rusti, APR Scout Committee Vice Chairpersons Hiroshi Shimada and Sombun Bunyasiri, and APR Regional Director J.R. Pangilinan. Gentlemen, over to you.
Thank you, Dayan and Shan. Greetings and mabuhay from the great Asia-Pacific region, as we usually say. It is great to have here with us, joining physically, the Secretary General of the World Organization of the Scout Movement, Mr. Ahmad Al-Hendawi. Together with him, joining here are members of the National Executive Board of the Boy Scouts of the Philippines and Regional Committee Member Dale Corbera. I am glad that we are supported here with volunteers and helping us in running this virtual event. Together with me, I will be reporting, together with the steering committee, our achievement for the last 3 years. And I am happy to kick off this triennial report, which is the result of the entire region's work and effort, from National Scout organizations, to the Regional Scout Committee and subcommittees, to the regional and global bureau staff, with the guidance of the World Scout Committee. Let us recall that a few weeks after the 2018 APR Scout Conference in Manila, we were energized to start a new triennium with the leadership of His Excellency Ambassador Ahmad Rusdi. We reorganized the different regional committees. We had a fresh start and new regional strategy. One of our first moves was to organize the orientation and induction of the Regional Scout Committee at Ambassador Rusdi's residence in Thailand. And at that meeting, in his residence, we set the momentum for a production and successful triennium. All went normal in 2019, but in early 2020, the dynamics of the entire world changed the triennium because of the coronavirus pandemic. And needless to say, that entire scouting world faced its massive challenge, personally, professionally, and institutionally. Different dynamics as a result of the pandemic. The effects of lockdown and restriction lead to the postponement or cancellation of some events. But we move on with our other alternatives, thanks to the inherent capacity of our young and adult members who have shown resiliency. We know that the movement persists even in difficult times and circumstances. The outdoor nature of scouting was temporarily paused, giving us the time to reflect and adapt to the new reality by connecting digitally through online platform, which we have now, restoring our connectivity, and we continued to move on. Every National Scout organization has many splendid stories to tell. Those stories are captured in our APR Plan Report 2018-2021, featuring the work of NSOs in pandemic, response and recovery, how they rose to the challenges and mobilized humanitarian action during natural disasters, how the scouting program, Messengers of Peace, Scouts for SDGs, and the Better World Framework inspired young people to set good examples in rebuilding their respective communities. Our regional leaders, the Regional Scout Committee, and subcommittees remain steadfast to continue working on our regional plan set for the triennium, despite of the limitations. Our staff in Manila, Philippines never stopped working from home and from the office, some of whom went through health challenges themselves. But here we are today, conference, to celebrate together the 27th APR Scout Conference. As I start this, I will be calling our colleagues in the steering committee to continue the report. And to report more on our performance in the last 3 years, my pleasure to invite our first Vice Chairman, Hiroshi Shimada, to share with us our achievements in the different areas of youth engagement and educational methods. His report will be followed by presentations from Dr. Sumbun Bunyasiri, who will touch on governance, communications and partnership, and financial management. And finally, our chairman, His Excellency Ambassador Ahmad Rasdi, will give the conclusion and final word for this triennial report. My personal thanks to the Regional Scout Committee, the subcommittees, the leaders of the National Scout Organization in the Asia-Pacific region for making this region great through their work, through their dedicated service and commitment for the greater cause of scouting in our region. I now give back the floor.
Greetings from Japan. It's my pleasure to deliver this report covering youth engagement, Better World Framework, diversity and inclusion, Messenger of Peace, Scout for SDGs, pandemic response, humanitarian action, Ticket to Life, and adult in scouting. Let me start this report with youth engagement. We changed the name of Young Adult Membership Group, or YAMG, to Regional Youth Representative, or RYR, a name that signifies the real purpose of this young group. The RYR framework, as we now call it, includes the role of youth representatives and their involvement in the Regional Scout Committee and subcommittee structures. Together with the RYR framework, the APR Scout Youth Forum guideline was revised, circulated, and used at the recently concluded 10th APR Scout Youth Forum. We commend the program and adult in scouting subcommittees for organizing the second Asia Pacific Region Educational Scout Forum in December 2020 that was held online with 23 NSOs represented. Before that, Bangladesh Scout hosted first educational youth forum that was organized face-to-face. In early 2020, the Bharat Scout and Guide is one of the first NSOs which, during the national lockdown, gave opportunities of its young people to lift each other's spirits the Virtual National Youth Forum was created with the young members of the Bharat Scouts and Guides to discuss and express their views on different issues, as well as to enhance their skills in decision-making at the institutional level of scouting and guiding. The Tight Tana's Plastic Challenge, or TTPC, is one of the Youth and the United Nations Global Alliance Challenge, which provides opportunities for young people to do challenge to achieve the Young Batch. With the launch of the Earth Drive initiative in June 2020, the Tight Tana Plastic Challenge was introduced alongside the Scout Go Solar and Champions for Nature challenges. In the region, 8 NSOs are identified as the pilot countries for Phase 1. They are Bangladesh, India, Indonesia, Malaysia, Pakistan, Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand. National coordinators were appointed and trained who, in turn, trained other adults in scouting to roll out the challenge in their own communities. A total of 20,000 awareness targets were met and 5,000 batch achievers were awarded until the end of March 2021. Due to the popular demand, the project will be launched in another 6 countries for Phase 2. Bhutan Scout Association organized the virtual training on the project, empowering young people through the Scout of the World Award in 2020. Pakistan Boy Scout Association held a Better World Framework integration camp for Rover Scout for them to understand the core values of the framework. On diversity and inclusion, the region-wide project promoting diversity and inclusion in the Asia-Pacific region was completed in December 2020. This project resulted in having a training program for NSOs on diversity and inclusion. A series of webinars were held in 2020 with a total of 1,156 participants in Zoom. 5 NSO projects were chosen from application for the D&I Challenge. These projects are supporting sustainable development goals by Crystal Open Scouts for underprivileged communities in Bangladesh, Scouting for Tribal Children, Skill Training Center in India. The program enabling active citizenship and environmentalism through scouting in the Philippines. Smiling Hearts of Little Daughters from Rural State Sector in Sri Lanka, and empowering Fijian special needs students, extending helping hands in Fiji. We also commend Persekutuan Pengakap Nagara Brunei Darussalam for hosting the National Diversity and Inclusion Workshop in September 2019 with 36 participants from 9 NSOs. Messenger of Peace connects young peace builders together in a global network and inspires them to play a leadership role and become active citizens in their communities. Asia-Pacific region marked the 10 years journey of Messenger of Peace with an online conference in June 2021, showcasing a decade of focused and integrated actions on peace at the regional, national, and local levels. Over 400 scouts, NSO leaders, and MLP coordinators, partners, and guests attended the conference via Zoom and reaching 1,000 more through live streaming. In February 2021, Scouts around the world contributed 2 billion hours of service towards creating a better world through the MOP initiative. Scouts in the Asia-Pacific region significantly contributed to the global milestone by clocking over 1.5 billion service hours. As of December 2021, the region recorded the total number of the 96,908 projects and 241 website users who shared numerous stories on the project and community work. In a virtual ceremony, World Scouting recognized the 25 young people for their outstanding service and contributions toward building peace and promoting sustainable development in their communities. 6 of these awardees represent the region. They are from Pakistan, Indonesia, Philippines, India, and Nepal. Some NSOs strengthen their MOP networks. Korea Scout Association started the local troop leaders workshop, and their projects are increasing. Scouts in Vietnam had training courses and developed materials to better understand the MOP and the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. The Messenger of Peace core team of the Asia-Pacific region spearheaded a webinar series for Scout for SDGs entitled Shaping Peace Together in 2020. We can cite many valuable examples of Scout on SDGs happening in different countries. Some of these wonderful initiatives are the effort to reduce plastic waste in Australia, ecosystem restoration in Vietnam, repairing houses and bridges in Brunei Darussalam, zero waste project in Mongolia, dialogue with nature in Hong Kong, transforming recycled bottles into beautiful planters in Singapore, saving the planet by planting trees in Cambodia, installing solar panels in an orphanage in Afghanistan, and planting 100,000 trees in Sri Lanka. Asia Pacific Support Center released a special publication on COVID-19 response collected from NSOs showing the innovative efforts of Scouts in different countries and how they dealt with the challenges of the health crisis in their homes, communities, and public places. In our member countries, Rover Scout in Nepal worked with communities on backyard gardening. Japan introduced the online Scout advancement. Scouts in India provided shelter homes for stranded migrants. Scouts New Zealand provided their members direct access to online programs. Scouts in Bangladesh launched the Meals Everyday project. Myanmar Scout created a project for people living in slum areas. Scouts in Macau assisted in managing the nucleic acid testing drive in 2 stations. Our Scouts in Timor-Leste helped in disinfecting public places. Asia-Pacific region is vulnerable to natural occurrences, causing catastrophes and adversities. Throughout the years, Scouts have been known to respond and render services when disasters strike in their localities. Before the pandemic, in October 2019, the region hosted the Scouting and Humanitarian Action Training in Thailand, a 3-day sharing of basic and best practice in humanitarian action on the common and diverse experience in the 6 Scouting regions: Africa, Arab, Asia-Pacific, Eurasia, Europe, and Inter-America. The training sufficiently covered topics on improving preparedness and building resilience, contingency planning, emergency response, communication during crisis, personal safety and security, forced displacement, among others. The pandemic didn't stop Scouts from helping victims in calamity areas. Indonesian Scouts, through its Scout Care Unit, worked closely with government rescues, evacuating residents as torrential rains flooded Jakarta and nearby cities. Hundreds of Scouts quickly mobilized to help typhoon-like victims in many parts of Malaysia. Bangladesh rovers helped families to rebuild their houses after Cyclone Amphan, and in India, Scouts and Guides quickly formed a response team to assist communities affected by the cyclone. Philippines formed its own BSP humanitarian response during the eruption of Tar volcano in early 2020. Ticket to Life, or TTL, is an ongoing flagship project of the region, primarily aimed at educating marginalized young people like street children. The project is currently carried out in 6 countries. There are 355 Scout beneficiaries in Bangladesh with 60, India with 64, Indonesia with 68, Nepal with 50, Philippines with 73, and Thailand with 40. 2 Ticket to Life webinars were held virtually by Bangladesh and Indonesia. TTL Scout in Thailand explored Scout Go Solo activities with partners and the community. Adults in Scouting. Volunteer and professional staff has been an important and visible component in the last triennium before and during the pandemic. The 5th edition of the WOSM Consultant Training was organized in October 2019 in Thailand. 6 scouting regions were represented at this training for 46 consultants from 32 NSOs. 7 WOSM services were covered at the training, and there are youth engagement, better world framework, safe from harm, diversity and inclusion, scouting and humanitarian action, partnership, and good governance. As part of celebrating the Woodbudge Centenary, the APR Adults in Scouting workshop was held in Hong Kong, bringing together 44 participants from 15 NSOs. At the same time, the Scout Association of Hong Kong hosted the Woodbudge Reunion, gathering more than 300 Scout leaders coming from 14 countries. In November 2020, the Scoutship, a compass for adult volunteer, was launched through a webinar. Scoutship is an online resource which aims to assist NSO to better manage adult in scouting and also to understand how to support youth program implementation. We note that many NSOs launched their online training, such as Singapore with its webinar scouting in the new norm, Myanmar with its advanced unit leader training course, Bhutan with its first course for leader trainers, and congratulations to Maldives for hosting the Woodbudge Reunion for NSO in South Asia. This is a short summary of this report, covering important program aspects in the region and in NSOs. On behalf of the Regional Scout Committee, we highly commend national Scout organizations for being the strong pillars of this huge region. Thank you for your dedicated involvement, the courage and bravery of your members, and their strong sense of duty to serve others. On the personal note, thank you to the Regional Scout Committee for giving me the opportunity to serve as a Vice Chairman for this triennium.
Sawasdee krap. Good afternoon. I am very honored to present the achievement of the region in the area of governance, financial management and resource mobilization, and communication and partnerships. Since the founding of this region in 1956, this triennium is one of the few times that the World Organization of the Scout Movement welcomed 3 new National Scout organizations to the World Scouting within a 3-year period. At this regional conference, we are very happy to welcome the Pathfinder Scouts Vietnam, which made a historic comeback when it rejoined WOSM in January 2019. Afghanistan National Scout Organization became a WOSM member in January 2020. And the newest WOSM member is Solomon Island Scout Association, which was welcomed in June 2021. Welcome to the Asia Pacific Regional Scout Conference. With your membership, we are now a strong and united scouting family of 30 member countries. I am excited to report that in collaboration with the Société Générale de Surveillance, or SGS, the Asia Pacific Support Center of the World Scout Bureau successfully underwent the NGO benchmarking standard in December 2021, earning an overall and outstanding rating of 96.1%. This is the first time the Regional Support Center carry out and externally facilitate benchmarking and assessment of its management practices and operation. The NSO benchmarking complies with the 26th APR Scout Conference Resolution 10/18 held in Manila that partly states the conference recognizing that the Asia Pacific region is the largest region in the world scouting and is well positioned to demonstrate the best practice in governance. Both the different national scout organizations and other scout regions recommend that the Asia Pacific Regional Scout Committee to complete externally facilitate GSAT review. We should cover the following GSAT dimension: governance framework, integrity management, and continuous improvement. After a thorough preparation and meeting with SGS in December 2021, our assessor gave their rating of the Regional Support Center performance in 12 dimensions. Governance framework 100%, governing body 95.8%, strategic framework 96.7%, integrity management 95.2%, communication, advocacy and public image 100%, human resources 88.9%, resources generation and allocation 100%, financial controls 100%, operation and service provision planning 93.3%, operation and service provision implementation 100%, outcomes measurement and evaluation 88.9%, and continuous improvement 94.4%. The support center received the NGO benchmarking certificate as well as the approval guideline and marks. The mark shows that such assessment has been performed by a strictly independent third party on the basis of international best practices. Congratulations to the Asia Pacific region for this outstanding achievement. We dedicate this achievement to our member Scout organizations for continuously working with us in ensuring the good governance process of this great region. The first virtual delivery of the APR Scout Leader Summit in April 2021 was a success and well attended by over 200 people. The summit focuses on membership growth, governance, and assessing the current regional plan progress. Overall, the region agreed to the alignment of the regional triennial plan with the World Triennial Plan and adopted the 6 strategic priorities: youth engagement, educational methods, diversity and inclusion, social impact, communication and external relations, and governance. A fresh start of the triennium, and with the new regional leadership structure at the 2018 APR Scout Conference, the World Scout Bureau steered an orientation and induction training for the new member of the Regional Scout Committee and Subcommittee in January 2019 in Bangkok. The 2-day discussion were captured and summarized in the PAC Team Charter. PAC stands for Purpose, Accountability, Communication, and Team Culture. A best practice in NSO, setting a breakthrough in governance, is Nepal Scout, when it forms 753 local Scout committees. As Scouting expands to local level of governance across Nepal. Since the introduction of the Global Scouting Assessment Tool, or GSAT, in 2012, 20 of NSO in the region have undertaken their assessment. A total of 13 NSO underwent external assessment, 5 had WUSM assessment, and 2 NSO had self-assessment. Other NSO are lined up with GSAT and encouraged for self-assessment. Overall regional membership increased in 2018 to 2019. With the emergence of the NSO growth strategy and appointment of the membership growth coordinators, however, due to the pandemic, most NSO were unable to implement their scouting activities as a result of mandate lockdowns and restrictions, greatly affecting recruitment and retention. Current membership is 35.5 million. The 42nd World Scout Conference recognized NSO around the world that have grown the most membership and the highest market share. They are called Membership Growth Champion. Let me acknowledge the growth champion in the Asia Pacific region. Between 2015 to 2019, Bhutan grew its membership by 14.26%, Maldives by 7.77%, and Indonesia by 2.89%. Member countries in the region with the highest number of absolute growth are Indonesia with 3,156,520 new members, Bangladesh with 958,083, and Philippines with 874,626 new members. WUSM targets a worldwide market share of 4.26% by 2023. 3 of the top 5 NSO with the highest market share are Indonesia with 29.33%, Bhutan with 24.22%, and Maldives with 9.08%. Star for the absolute growth in each region were also recognized. In our region, there are Indonesia, Bangladesh, Philippines, Pakistan, and Thailand. Continuing the action plan for growth, WUSM chose 6 countries with the potential to grow further. They are India, Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand. And we are monitoring their growth situation and plan of action to move forward towards 2023. The Scout Association of Papua New Guinea has set a good example for growth. New Scouts and adult leaders had their investiture ceremony in May 2021. 20 young people were welcomed as Scouts. 30 adult leaders received their Wood Badge certificates, and 20 Scout Patrol leaders received their certificate and patrol stripes. Congratulations to our Scout friends in Papua New Guinea. 2 practical tools on financial management and fundraising were revised during the triennium through the initiative of Financial Management Subcommittee. The Handbook on Financial Resources Management and Development, first published in 2007, was updated in 2020. Another publication, Guideline for Fundraising, was revised in 2021 with the purpose of enriching the capacity of NSO to raise funds effectively as a means to support their program and activities. The region supported Myanmar Scout in organizing the National Workshop on Financial Management and Controls. Another support was managed for Scout Association of Maldives for its financial management consultancy, Terra for its National Executive Council. 3 decades since the establishment of the APR Scout Foundation in 1992, the region remembers its humble beginnings from a seed of capital of $10,000 in 1992 to $2.9 million 30 years later. Thanks to the determination and commitment of leaders who took the helm of the foundation, to the NSO that organized fundraising events, and the numerous individual donors who heeded to call to support Scouting. In this triennium, special thanks to the Scout Association of Japan for hosting the fundraising in May 2019. Let's go to the APR Scout Bazaar, an online shop on Scouting products, created in May 2017 to meet the demand for Scouting supplies and souvenirs across the region. This project was launched on the initiative of the APR Financial Resources Subcommittee 2015-2018, and a Scout Bazaar portal was opened in October 2017 with a marketing website and app to widen its customer base. More appealing products were created and sales substantially increased in the last 2 years. With shifting communication and media platforms, the triennium introduced new media channels that cater to stakeholders, reach internal and external audience, and ensure a smooth flow of information within the regional structure. Social media engagement increased considerably in all the regional channels, such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and the website. Inspiring voices of young people who are heard at a 3-day webinar series on communications and media held in July 2021. The workshop featured young people who are actively engaged in managing their media channel, whether mainstream or social media. Those initiatives were shared by young people in Sri Lanka, Philippines, Bangladesh, Malaysia, Scout China, India, and South Africa on how they positively impact their community with their media work. One enormous effect of the global pandemic was connecting virtually for a series of learning events and webinars. The region and NSO resorted to online platforms in response to travel restrictions and lockdowns. As a result, the large participation in these virtual events transcended borders and the limitation of face-to-face gatherings. At the same time, connecting virtually also presented its unique challenges. The region organized and supported numerous online webinars, training, and consultancy from April 2020 to September 2021, engaging thousands of participants in Zoom and live streaming. Asia Pacific Regional Scout Photo Contest that started in 2001 has become an annual feature to showcase the talent of Scout and adult in photography and to show the world the wonderful thing happening in local community through picture. Congratulations to the winner in 2019, 2020, and 2021. Photo entries are valuable media assets and are used to create regional publications such as yearly calendar, reports, and posters. The successful signing of the framework agreement between the Asia-Pacific region and the Open Mapping Hub Asia-Pacific was held in October 2021. focus on the framework agreement is to achieve the mission of both Scouting and the Open Mapping Hub towards creating and effectively using up-to-date, high-quality map data in humanitarian action. The Arab and Asia Pacific International Commissioner Gathering was indeed a milestone for the Arab and Asia Pacific Scouting regions to organize the first ever virtual NSO International Commissioner Gathering in November 2021. This is just the beginning of a mutually beneficial cooperation between the two scouting regions, and we look forward to more meetings in the future. In administration, just like many other working stations around the world, the Asia Pacific Support Center made flexible working arrangements for the staff during the pandemic. Some staff members and their families were not spared from the health scare. The office ensured that the physical, mental, financial, and psychological well-being of staff members were taken care of during this period. Before I end my reports, let me express my gratitude to colleagues in the Regional Scout Committee, the Asia Pacific Support Center, and the many friends I met across the region. Thank you for your friendship and personal support. I have 3 years remaining to serve in the Regional Scout Committee. See you again in the next triennium.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my brothers and sisters. After hearing what we have been mentioned and delivered by Regional Director and Vice Chairman, I would like to share my thought as the Chairman of the Regional Scout Committee. Over the 3 years ago, when I was elected as the regional chairman, I delivered the chairman's challenges toward the end of 2018 conference. We still remember, as I mentioned, that the challenges of our term begin like a story in movie. And every good story, there is a setting, and in our case, their setting is Asia Pacific region. In our story, we have characters or actors, and I would like to say that our best actors are the young people who deliver the beautiful soul of the Scout movement. Also, in every story, there is a direction. I attribute the role of director to our NSO's leaders. Thank you to NSO's leaders. Your direction is the key to the survival and recovery not only of your role in the NSO, but of Scouting at large. 40 months later, in early 2020, the real challenges happened all over the world, marking with the first report of cluster of phenomenon cases. 6 months later, the coronavirus outbreak coincided with reaching 10 million cases and 500,000 deaths all over the world. And therefore, we must be cautious on our scouting activities for the safety of our members. The pandemic has brought out the worst as well as the best in our scouting world. Indeed, every one of us have faced and are still facing an extraordinary health crisis. But we have survived, and I believe our focus now, the road to recovery. We are facing of the greater and more lasting problems such as climate change and global warming. We believe there must be resolution, and we have solution to offer and deliver to the world with our scouting programs such as the Scout for SDGs, Humanitarian Action, and Messenger of Peace. Let's be proud of our achievement during the midst of coronavirus pandemic. Thank you to the support and unity of the entire APR Scout Committee and APR Support Center from Manila, who has worked hard. We never forget that the strongest inspiration in the mission of Scouting is to contribute to the education of young people through a valuable system based on the Scout promise and law to help build a better world where people are self-fulfilled as individuals play a constructive role in society. Thank you, my Vice Chair and the entire colleagues in the Regional Scout Committee for their great support and camaraderie in the last 3 years. In every Regional Scout Committee meeting, we did our best to review progress report in our regional plan and the conference resolution we adopted in 2018. Despite setback in the last 2 years, we accomplished most of our goals with an added 1-year extension of our term. Now, we are facing a significant period with the upcoming APR plan for 2022-2025. And I wish the new Regional Scout Committee the very best. We hand over to you this brilliant opportunity to continue the long-lasting legacy of unity in the great regions. And please allow me to convey a very warm greeting from the entire leaders and members of the committee, who wants to thank their sisters and brothers in the region for trusting and supporting me to serve as chairman of APR Scout Committee in Scout Movement, who has given opportunities to lead the largest region in WOSM. This is the end of my report. However, at the same time, this is beginning of new story to uphold. I am confident that the legacy will continue for as long as Scouting creates a good impact on individual members to the world at large. I say farewell as the regional chairman at this conference with the knowledge, confidence that our journey will never end. Finally, I would like also to convey my sincere apologies if I have offended anyone during our interaction or communication, as I am only a human being with a lot of weaknesses. I admit that it is impossible for a chairperson to satisfy everyone's expectation during my tenure. Once again, I thank you very much for the support and have a meaningful virtual APR conference. Terima kasih.
That is truly outstanding. This gentleman and their report reminded of the lyrics of a famous song, and it goes, "What a journey it has been." I am more than certain that you were amazed and awe-inspired with our shared accomplishments over the last triennium. The successes and strides of the past triennium is not solely thanks to the Regional Scout Committee, but more importantly, it banks on the unwavering commitment and dedication of the 30 member NSOs in the Asia-Pacific region and their NSO leadership. This is our shared success. I now invite one of the well-respected leaders in the Asia-Pacific region, Mr. Paul Ho, to present the Treasurer's report for the past triennium. Paul, over to you.
Good afternoon, brother and sister scouts. As the regional treasurer, I'm glad to report to you the financial operations of the Asia Pacific Support Center for the triennium 2018 to 2021. My report is about figures, and I know it is always a challenge listening to numbers. On the other hand, my report is about money, which should be an exciting subject. Before my report on figures, I wish to give you some highlights that happened in the last 3 years. Firstly, I'm happy to report that in the last 3 fiscal years, the audits of the AP Support Center were completed as scheduled, and there was no management comment nor issue of weakest letter from the external auditor, KPMG. Secondly, the AP Support Center had undergone the NGO benchmarking or GSET in December 2021, and I'm proud to report that it achieved an overall and outstanding rating of 96.1%. Thirdly, a system called Show Expense had been implemented to all regional offices, including the AP Support Center, for the computerization of expense liquidation. And fourthly, in spite of a reduction in budget allocation due to the COVID-19 pandemic in the last 3 years, the AP Support Center still carried out its operations with no deficit. For this report, I will cover the financial operations of the AP Support Center for the 3 fiscal years 2018 to 2019, 2019 to 2020, and 2020 to 21. My report will cover, first, what are the sources of our funds, and secondly, how do we do with the funds, and thirdly, what are the projects supported, and fourthly, what are the fund balances remained at the end of the fiscal years. In connection with the sources of funds, as we are all aware, the AP Support Center is fully dependent on the budget allocations from the Global Support Center. In the first fiscal year of this triennium, which is 2018 to 2019, we received our regular budget allocation amounted to $684,200. However, the second fiscal year 2019 to 2020 was affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, and the budgets of all regional offices were reduced by 17%, with the result that the budget allocation to the AP Support Center was reduced from $684,200 to $584,500. In the third fiscal year, 2020 to 2021, there was an 8% increase from the previous year, and we received an amount of $633,800. Thus, the total budget allocation in the 3 fiscal years from the Global Support Center to the AP Support Center was $1,902,500. During this triennium, the AP Support Center also received and managed funds earmarked for projects in our region. The total amount received from 2018 to 2021 was $890,200. Apart from the budget allocation from the Global Support Center and the earmarked funds, an amount of $63,900 was also received in this triennium from interest income and other miscellaneous income. Next, I would like to elaborate the donors and the amounts of the earmarked funds received by the AP Support Center from 2018 to 2021 in order of the donation quantum. Number one, around 50% of the total donations amounted to $447,100 came from the World Scout Foundation through the Messenger of Peace. This fund was used for various projects in our region. Number two, during the triennium, an amount of $199,200 was allocated by the Global Support Center to support the World Scout Jamboree and the World Education Forum. Number three, we also received $84,000 from the AP Scout Foundation as support to NSOs for field activities in the region. Number four, the United Nations Environment Program has also donated $53,800 as a partner with us for the plastic tire turners project. Number five, we also received $19,400 from eFrank for the regional youth training course, which unfortunately have been suspended due to the pandemic. Number six, the Boy Scouts of Philippines has allocated $19,300 for participation in the regional global events and local council projects. Number seven, another donation of $9,600 was received from KAISIT, designated for the Dialogue for Peace training. Number eight, we also received contributions to the membership funds, including APS, Youth Fund, ATOS, and the Council of South Pacific Scout Association, amounted to $8,300. Number nine, last but not least, there were contributions to the AP Support Center Star Welfare Fund, amounted to $45,000. Thanks to all the donors for their continuous generous support to this region, and I wish to express my greatest gratitude to them. Without their donation, there's no way that we can carry out so many Scout projects in this region. Next is how we used our funds. In the past 3 years, we disbursed a total sum of $2,805,800, out of which we spent $1,937,800 for the operating expenses of the AP Support Center and $868,000 for the earmarked projects. In connection with spending of the earmarked projects, more than 50% of the total spending amounted to $453,200 were for Messenger of Peace projects. The projects under MOP include the following: Ticket to Life projects to educate street children, emergency relief including support to disaster preparedness in Indonesia, food and conflict relief in Myanmar, and Scouts affected by fire in Philippines, promoting Scout diversity and inclusions, good governance, including the strengthening GSET implementation, strategy collective consultancy training and committee induction, Scout development in Solomon Islands, MOP coordinators mobilization and capacity building, Better World Framework. We have also incurred $173,200 as support to NSOs for participants who attended the World Scout Jamboree and $26,000 for the World Education Forum in Brazil. The expense incurred for the plastic tire turners project supported by the United Nations Environment Program amounted to $51,600. And same as previous years, the APR Scout Foundation supported various field activities and events conducted by the AP Support Center and hosted by different NSOs in our region. The total spending was $46,700. There were also relief spendings after national disasters in the region amounted to $28,500. And details of all the smaller projects financed by the earmark funds are shown in the table on my PowerPoint. And the next is the financial positions of our general fund and earmark funds for projects at the end of each of the 3 fiscal years in this triennium. It is noted that the AP Support Center have fund balances of $14,359 as effective September 2018 and $478,000 as effective September 2021. In this 3 years' time, there was an increase of $63,641, representing an increase of 15%. This is because of cost efficiency in the AP Support Center. I wish to take this opportunity to express my gratitude to our Regional Director JR and his staff team for their hard work to accomplish their services to NSOs in this region within the limited budget. With regard to the earmarked funds for projects, we started with a beginning fund of $530,700 and an ending fund of $552,900. There was an increase of $22,200, representing an increase of 4.2%. Finally, my dear Scout friends, I wish to say that transparency and integrity is vital in finances. As the regional treasurer, I can assure you, our stakeholders, and most importantly, our donors, the funds in our region are well accounted for and wisely and carefully spent. I can also assure you that the financial positions of both the AP Support Center and the earmark funds for projects are strong and healthy. Let me end my report with this quote from the Nobel Prize winner, Professor Robert Shiller. Finance is not merely about making money. It is about achieving our deep goals and protecting the fruits of our labor. It is about stewardship and therefore about achieving the good society. This quote is absolutely in line with our Scout spirit. This ends my report, and thank you very much for listening. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you, Regional Treasurer Paul Ho, for that report. I am sure that our NSOs welcome such transparency about the region's financial health. We now call Regional Director J. Rizal C. Pangilinan for some announcements.
Thank you, Diane. Let's give a round of applause to our presiding officers. Virtual. Conference, we are more than an hour ahead of our schedule because everybody's participating and clearly understood what we are having in this conference. But let me make this repeat announcement that tomorrow we will start again by 12 noon Manila time, GMT +8. And I am sure that tomorrow we will end up late. It will be up to 9:30. Kindly go over with the conference agenda or program so that you will be guided accordingly. Furthermore, while we will start our conference by 12 noon tomorrow, We will open up the Zoom link by 11:30 a.m. Again, Manila time, GMT +8. We are opening it earlier because we wanted to let you in properly in the conference and participate. We have sent individually to you the Zoom link, so please review all your emails as you can read the instruction in the email that we sent to you. For your proper guidance, the conference Zoom will require participants to sign in into a Zoom account. So please ensure that you use the email address that you provided in the conference registration. The registered email will be used to pre-assign the participants also to the breakout group. So it's important that you send to us the official email address. Now, we have more than 400, I think, that joined on Zoom, but some wasn't able to come in because we saw in some of the account that there's a name Wolf Scout and the other name was Tiger Scout. So we don't have a zoo here. So please change your account name so that we can let you in. So please change the name. And to change the name on Zoom and let you in, please use the code that we provided to you. For example, if you are a participant, you will use, or a delegate, you will use the code D as a prefix. No? And if you are an observer, you use O. W staff, WSB. Committee member, C. Subcommittee member, SUC, and invited guest. I think you can easily follow this instruction, and if you can't, kindly look for somebody who is techie or who has that knowledge on IT so that you will be guided accordingly. No? So for tomorrow, I repeat, we will only let in those that are using the official name on the Zoom, using the Zoom link that we provided to you via email. Congratulations, conference, for the work done for today. Again, I repeat, we will start opening the Zoom link tomorrow by 11:30 a.m. Manila time, GMT +8. Congratulations for the day. I now give back the floor to Diane.
Thank you, RDJR. Conference, we have finally come towards the end of our programs for this day. We will resume our session tomorrow, same time at 1200 hours Philippine Standard Time, GMT +8. I therefore announce the break for the day. Thank you.
Okay, congratulations for day one. It's already 4:45.